Always feels good to sing this mantra. We're live. Welcome, everybody. Let me double check if we are really. If I think so, yes. Hello. Golly, you're here again. Good. Yeah, it's a beautiful song. It's the Mul Mantra from Sikhism. Means a lot to me. It guided me through my dark night of the soul. It's kind of like a singing of the universal truth that is present. Especially like Ik Onkar means there's only one. And there's only one Ik creator. There's only one God. And Satanam means the name is truth. And I like that name, that name for the one, that name for the Most High, for what people call God. I like to call it truth as well. Thank you. My hair is really nice like this. It's a new style. I didn't know how to do it, and here I met some beautiful women, and they were like doing this, and I was like, it looks really nice. And I want to talk about truth as a value, an understanding of truth. That's what I want to go into, and kind of like what's really important to me in general. Top 10 values, value exercises. A lot what I've been doing with my clients at the moment. A lot of clients came up with like desire to work on values, and it's such a nice foundation. And I did this work of reconsidering my whole life and my values over the past few weeks as well. So it's nice to share that. By the way, there's going to be a community coming. Probably in the next few weeks, I'm going to start the Psychedelic Actualization community, where we can actually spend time together. It's not going to be free, but it's going to be an inner circle experience of just a few people, where we're going to hop on calls and we're going to see what is emerging out of that space. Also, if you're curious about psychedelic integration, there's a free book I wrote. The link is in the video description. It's called 5 Steps to Embody Your Psychedelic Insights into Day-to-Day Life. How's Madagascar? I am still in Madagascar, and life is, I don't know, I feel not motivated, not inspired. I've been doing some stuff, but yeah, feel a bit like out of touch, a bit like empty, and a bit like I haven't had any expectations towards this travel and this journey, but I feel a bit like out of I feel not like it has been a success in the greatest sense, like this travel and this adventure. I got thick. I think in last week's live stream we saw I had fever, but I figured I went to the hospital here in Madagascar, and it turned out to be thyroid fever. So it was pretty intense, pretty serious. Now I've been taking like heavy antibiotics for the last week. like even injecting them into my arm. Now my arm is infected because there was like this needle in my arm for the past week. It's tough, rough time. And then also, um, there's a lot of dynamics happening with this place where I'm staying at right here, which is not good or bad, but it's just what it is. And inevitably, I'm kind of like in the observing and involvement in what is happening, um, which is interesting. I learn a lot, and it's fascinating to be. And also to see and learn more about this culture here and be kind of like involved in the culture a little bit more with the people that are working here in Shambhala, Madagascar. Um, so that's wonderful. And also, I have been basically having an agreement or a contract with a Soul Revolution Festival in the UK. They're going to launch a media platform, and I agreed to do some filming for them for a freedom documentary, basically a documentary about freedom. So I've been doing a lot of work regarding filming stuff. I'm probably going to use the footage for this channel as well, and just like make some nicely edited videos for that. But I've been like putting a lot of energy and awareness into that project, and there was kind of like the first time in a long time, in a while, where I have invested more into another project. Basically, I was hired as a videographer, right? So I've been kind of like, yeah, investing more in others and other people's projects and experiences and feelings more than in my own, like in this work of psychedelic actualization. And that is, I think, one of the causes of this feeling of disalignment. And then on top of that, I haven't even done great, big, crazy, bold adventures. I have done like some to some extent, like went sailing for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and did like some stuff, but not the kind of like the nature immersion. Like I see this huge potential for nature immersion here in Madagascar. It's like such fascinating um, environment, such a nice climate. 90% of the things that are here are unique to Madagascar: the plants, the animals, such a rich wildlife, untouched land, untouched nature. But I still haven't been going out. And now, like, my flight back is in about a week, maybe two. I don't know. And I could extend my stay, but that doesn't really feel aligned. And also, I could stay here, well, basically, or I just make the most out of the time that is left here, right? Which is not that much. Also, with the psychedelics, I'll have to see if I can do them, because the doc was saying, like, no, 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 these antibiotics that you took were like really strong. Better not try to do any psychedelics on top. Yeah, so that's that. Um, Kali's asking, what is the Madagascar Shambhala actually about? Like, what do you do on a daily basis? What is it for? Madagascar Shambhala, like, I'm not involved in this project. It's basically like a guest house. It's like a resort kind of thing. It's a beach house. It's just like a wonderful big house with a lot of rooms at the beach, and people rent out rooms. So, and it's just like starting off this project. And the vision, I guess, from what I understood from what my friend is planning, is like taking people on adventures. Is a big part of it, not just being like a hotel, right? But taking people on adventures, but also leading that into kind of like personal growth, and leading that into being the best version of yourself, pushing boundaries, growth, adventure, just like pure, like these feelings of freedom and of growth and of learning and of, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to describe what adventure is really like providing, but it's such a wonderful like thing. And then another friend of mine who's involved in this project here has like the vision to bring people here, right? To bring like-minded people here, groups of people, not just like visitors, but groups of people, like a little like and organize, like, I don't know, festivals or events or workshops or week-long workshops, and do that in this place. But I think it's a lot of work that still needs to be done here. Um, like organizational work, from the staff, the people that are working here, how everything is organized, how the operations basically of this place. That's what a lot of the day-to-day stuff is about. It's about like observations and challenges that come up with operational stuff on how to actually run such a place, on, I don't know, right? Organize and manage the work of the people that are living here as well. Like the Malagasy people, they have a different way of seeing the world and working. Um, so all of that stuff, and you know, it's like it's interesting, but that's what I said. That's why I kind of feel a little bit empty inside, because it's like it's interesting and I care, but I don't truly care about it. You know, it's like my vision, my purpose, my kind of like passion lies in another area, and that's beautiful to find out here. You know, it's a learning experience of kind of like always the travelings and the meeting of people and spending more time with people. It's always like a balancing point of like, okay, this is what I want. I kind of refine in my mind of what I actually want, what I don't want, and then like I flow with this. um, Sporecaster, good to see you here. What was the title of the stream, reference to a comment left by a viewer? No, it was just what randomly popped into my mind right now. Kali's saying, so it's like a hotel and organizes events. Yes, basically. It's like but it's not like a hotel, you know? Even though you can rent out a room, it's still like, I don't know, it's a very different kind of hotel, you know? It's like this right here is like, this is like space, you know, this working area. But, you know, right there, there's a room, for example, over there, there's a room. And then there's a terrace, but there's like a lot of open space, you know, a lot of community. All the people that are living here are eating together most of the times, um, even if it's just like people booking a room for a night. So it's like it's more a communal thing. It's yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. Um, yeah, so that is what has been going on. Physically, I feel a lot better. Fortunately, it's great. And I really feel the desire, kind of like, of what's coming up. I really just want to go out into nature, spend a couple of nights there, camp in nature. Rainy season is starting here, which is also really interesting. So um, areas are more difficult to access, and I don't know, the rivers are growing, and it's I don't know, brings its own vibe with the rainy season. But also stuff is getting a lot more green. But also there can be lots and lots of rain. Kali's saying it's amazing how you can freely choose to travel and stay in nature for more than a month independently of corporate work. Yes, um, it is a blessing. I recognize it is a blessing, and I can tell you, like, it doesn't require much to come to this place of lifestyle. It's like if you really want to do it, if that's kind of your goal, then, and I'm not in the ultimate place of where I want to be, but it's like it's so achievable. Like I can tell you, for you also, it's like it's very possible if you have this in mind of what you want. You can do that even inside of a job. For example, me, I was a waiter for 8 years. I worked in a restaurant for 8 years, but and it was like in a little town in Germany, you know. But even there, I don't know. I stumbled into it when I was basically younger into this job. Um, so it might be different for every unique situation. But I built myself, and I got to a position in this restaurant where I could have the freedom that I wanted, even though while I was working there. So I could say like, okay, I'm working. You know, I save up some money, and then because I was so valuable to the organization that I could like decide on how much I want to work. So I got to a position. It's kind of like Seth Godin talked about it in his book Linchpin. It's like you become so valuable in your organization that you can't be replaced. Like it's impossible that you're replaceable, basically, because you're so valuable, because you provide so much to your work and your organization. And so that's what I did in this like little restaurant setting, because it's like super easy to do, especially in that small one where they had struggles with finding team members and whatever. And because I was so valuable, I could like set requirements of like, okay, if you don't want me to leave, basically, I'm gonna go travel for a month. I'm gonna go travel for 2 months. Take a vacation for 2 months and travel and do, because I really want to do this. And like either you can say yes to that offer and then I return and I come back and work with you, or you can say no to that offer and basically I go and leave and quit the job. But if you are in the position of being a linchpin, being so valuable and being like you can't be replaced, then the chances are higher that your organization is going to say yes to your offer. So basically, it's saying like you create your freedom, and it starts in your mind, in saying, in having a vision and having a goal and saying like, okay, this is what I really want to do. Um, and then like working towards that, building a strategy, a step-by-step action plan to actually get to that position. And it might take some time, it might take some years. And then during those 8 years of the working in a restaurant, I basically had the vision like for this, what I'm doing right here with coaching, with my clients, with the community and the psychedelic education. That's what I had in mind 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. And I, over those 8 years where I was working and consciously working just in a restaurant, and with the knowledge that this is not going to get me anywhere and this is not what I ultimately want to do, but I took steps, to actually, all the travels I did were just to invest in myself. All the money I earned was just to invest in myself, to invest in myself in order to be able to accumulate the experiences and the skills and the trainings and the courses and the knowledge and the network and the connections that I need to develop in order to make my dream a reality, to work from anywhere. Because that was the original idea, even before I had the idea to work with psychedelics or whatever, when I was like, I don't know, 14, 15. Didn't feel I didn't feel free in school. It was kind of like this imprisonment of what you're basically describing, of like, oh, this like system, this corporate system. Being in school, I felt imprisoned, and so I had the idea, okay, my freedom is gonna come from location independent, ideally passive, but now I realized that active income is also really nice, but location independent online income. So, and it doesn't really have to be online. Online is now the route that I chose. There's different ways to approach it, also offline. But yeah, basically that, like figuring out what you really want to do, creating that goal, that vision in mind, and then working towards that step by step. But in those steps, you can get glimpses of how it's like to actually live your dream in order to, yeah, to keep you going. That's what I did, basically. That's what I'm doing right here as well, right? I haven't really come to a place of full abundance of where I want to be, with my work and financially, but I like these bold moves basically are showing life that I trust in life. So I took all my savings and booked flights to Madagascar, and it didn't even turn out to be that like beneficial. I don't know I still don't know. Like when I booked the flights here, I didn't know why I was gonna go here, and now I'm here, and I still don't know why I'm here. Like I still don't know what was the purpose of this trip now, of this month of being sick and down and reconsidering my values and my vision in my life. I can see a little bit of what it was worth, you know. But overall, like I'm like, oh, I don't know if this was like even the right move. But that's okay, you know. I show basically by taking money and like giving it all away. You're giving and you're investing. You're showing life that you trust life. You say like, okay, I don't have much, but I still give it away. I still invested in my journey and in my life, or even in helping others. Right? So it's like both. Um, and then life says like, okay, this guy's trusting me, you know. So I can provide him with more. It's this knowing that everything is possible. You're already free, and you're free to choose to create your life. And on the journey of you creating the life that you desire to create, you can still, during the journey, hold a perspective that feels aligned in the moment of really keeping this big picture in mind. So that's that. Um, and actually, what keeps me going, you know, I had a consultation here um, with a business development strategist, like a person I met here, and even that could be just like the purpose of why I was here, just to meet this person. And now I'm invited to I don't know, give a workshop or talk at Soul Revolution Festival next year in the UK. And maybe that might lead to different opportunities and more like credibility, and I don't know, me building this path and building connections and thriving and sharing, you know. um, but she did like a nice she called it dragon dreaming. You could Google it. Dragon dreaming is basically, it's business development, kind of like strategy consultation, but it's a fun name, and like it implies principles from indigenous wisdom. And she did this session for me, you know, and we came up, I can show it to you. um, Basically just like a simple reconsideration, and just like putting onto paper, this is what we came up with. Of like starting with the end goal in mind, and then breaking the steps down to this and this and this and this and this, and then basically where you are. So, and in my vision, like I'm still at the first like spots here. This is psychedelic actualization here, the first step. It's uh, it's the online business, what I said. It's like it's financial, location independent, financial freedom and stability based on doing what I love. That's kind of like the first step for me. But you know, this didn't like happen out of nowhere. This happened because I have a much greater vision that keeps me going. I have an end goal, and this is just like where we are right now is down here. This is what this live stream is about. And even my coaching, you know, it's a step up from that, but it's like it's just the first step. So the end goal with which I was approaching my journey is like, you gotta dare to dream big. Because like a small vision, or like a small, yeah, I don't know, a small vision, or like a vision around just your egoistic desires and selfishness is not gonna, that's not gonna bring it, that's not gonna motivate you in the long term. Because like times are gonna get rough. Like I can't even tell you how many like challenges came across my path in the last years. um and if I wouldn't have had the vision that I have in mind, like I don't know if I would keep going. I don't know. But this end vision that I basically set for myself and for psychedelic actualization. Well, for psychedelic actualization, it is. I can read it to you. Um, there's like one thing I put into my onto my website, and it's like the ultimate vision behind psychedelic actualization is to offer every human being the opportunity to reconnect with the aspect of itself that is always already whole, by empowering him to realize his freedom to take responsibility for his purification and awakening that leads to the authentic, joyous, and loving expression of conscious creating inside the continuous self-emergence of physical existence. That's basically just like a very, like, I don't know, elaborate way of saying facilitating people's growth and potential. And the vessel that has helped me for my own journey the most have been psychedelics. So I centered my vision around psychedelics, and the vision that I have in mind is not, actually not even the online work. It's offline work. It's actually facilitating ceremony, and not just that, but building a retreat center. My vision is to build a retreat center, a psychedelic actualization retreat center, a retreat center that doesn't even exist right now, with a beautiful setting, maybe on an island or on land where it's warm all year round, it's beautiful climate, there's waterfalls, there's springs, there's even a hot spring, ocean is nearby, there's jungle or forest. So this is going to be the location. Actually, very similar to Madagascar. Madagascar has a very, very beautiful landscape. Um, then there's going to be school, basically school of life, school of education, proper psychedelic preparation, workshops, events, a curriculum of actually like approaching your psychedelic journey with care, especially for self-actualization and self-realization, right? And then there's going to be a bunch of ceremonies, not just with one substance, but with a variety of medicines. And the retreats then are going to be tailored to the person itself that is coming to the retreat, or the group itself that is coming to the retreat. And there's going to be a variety of structures of how ceremony is conducted, with different facilitators, so not just me. And then there's going to be the integration. So there's actually going to be space for meditation. There's going to be temple. There's going to be a retreat center, basically, maybe even with dark room retreats where people can go into dark room retreat and then go into 5-MeO DMT experience afterwards or during that experience. So it's all of these, like this really integrative, holistic approach of utilizing psychedelics to the most excellent and uh, degree of mastery for self-actualization and self-realization. So that's the end goal. Like, that's going to take 30 to 40 years and more. This is going to be like a big chunk of work. But that vision inspires me. Like, that puts fire under my ass to keep going, because this is inspiring me. I'm like, this doesn't exist yet, or it exists in like certain different kind of like forms, but not in the form that I would like, that I imagine, that I have in my mind. So this is like, it's so inspiring. Like, it's such a big vision. It's so humbling as well, that I recognize I can't do it alone, obviously. But it's like, this is like, wow, like this little like trip up now of spending a month in Madagascar and not knowing for what purpose or how that feeds into this big vision, like that's just like a little hiccup now, or my whole spiritual crisis, that's just like one step on the journey to that bigger vision that is gonna be feeding into this. Every single connection that is built is kind of like facilitating this process of realizing that big vision, which is going to be like a 40-50 year, maybe not even in my lifetime, vision. So it's like, that's inspiring. That is what keeps me going, not just like the tiny goal of making money online doing what I love. This is like, this is selfish, but it's not just selfish, because it's like, it's a stepping stone onto this journey of realizing that bigger vision. um Moth, my brother, love, love goes out to you. Hope you're doing well wherever you are hanging out at the moment. And Alicia, good to see you here. Much love. So see this big vision of the retreat center. You create this big vision, and then you basically break it down of like, okay, what is required for me in order to get there. So for me, the next step basically is like a probably like a 10, 20, 30 year long period of apprenticeship, with different traditions, with different medicines, really deepening my own connections to the plants, to the medicines, learning from teachers, mentors, guides, shamans, facilitators, building my own practice, and actually, like, yeah, just like going into this deep work myself. That's going to be a big chunk of my time and my work at building myself out. Um, so this is, and I was like, okay, it might be nice to have some online income for this, so I can actually fund it myself, and not just have to work somewhere in a job and then go out, do some little like apprenticeship work, and then needing to go back again, and have this like back and forth, uh, which I'm doing like right now, which I've been doing over the past few years, because while I was building this up. So this is one part of it, and then obviously also the apprenticeship, the volunteering work basically in retreat centers is what's going to come up next for me in my life over the next decade or two, is to actually see how retreat centers that are operating in a similar way to how I imagine my retreat center to operate, how their operation are going, like just like learning, learning operations, learning to serve, learning how people are doing it. Maybe I even, right? So it's like serving in that field, basically. And that's the next step. And again, for that, it might be nice to have like a foundation of doing what I love and being able to earn money from that, doing what I love, um, doing that online. And actually, it's like this work, what I'm doing right now with coaching, it's coaching is such a nice job because it's growing me as well. This YouTube thing is so wonderful because it's building and fostering connections. It's actually like building this retreat center, right? What I'm doing right now with you guys watching is building this psychedelic retreat center that I have in mind in the future. So in the last few months, I just had like jumped into a lot of doubts. Last few days and weeks as well, of like, should I just like leave my YouTube, and should I just leave the coaching and the course and everything behind, and the community, and just disappear for 10, 20 years into the jungle, learn Spanish, go the road without money, basically, because it's a possibility to do that without money. It's just got to be a different path, right? And I chose to try to approach it with money, try to do it with money, because I can imagine it to be a little bit more effortless and a little bit more smooth for myself, and just like also my personal preferences are going to be is useful exchange, to have resources and money. But I was thinking of like, how would it look like the path to that retreat center and the apprenticeship and everything without money, just learning different languages, and then it's like it's a lot of physical labor, and a lot of serving basically that you got to do in exchange for being able to live somewhere, being able to work somewhere, being able to, I don't know, get food somewhere, and then at the same time learning. So I imagine that to be a bit more difficult, because then you're kind of like, I don't know, too much depending on others that are throwing food away that you can then eat, or others that you have to like have an exchange in some kind of time and effort and work that you might not want to be doing. So yeah, tough decision. But I basically came back to this roadmap that I have, right? So it's a big roadmap that I created 10 years ago, which says like, okay, my first step, which I'm still like working on, it it might have, like, it might take 8 years, and it might take like 3 or 4 years more, but long term, it's this long term thinking. Long term is, it's worth it. It's worth it to build up this community. It's worth it to learn and educate myself. It's worth it to invest 10K in a coaching program to actually learn how to help people, um, and facilitate spaces and hold a space. So yeah, and I still might have to, yeah, I don't know, go back. And that doesn't mean that what I'm doing right here is not meaningful. Just because it's not the end vision. Like, it's, there's layers to the purpose. There's layers that are also just like unfolding and unraveling over time. So for example, right now it's like, um also with these videos of like, what am I going to share, like, who am I, what am I passionate about, like, actually doing here. And for now, for example, what I came to is basing it around my values, which I'm going to go into in a bit, and also connecting it to a deeper why, because it's like the why for the retreat sense is like, okay, I'm not seeing such a vision like being created, so I'm going to do it. um but the why here is like to say like, okay, everyone, maybe every one of you has had a psychedelic experience, and based in my experience, it's hard to integrate this. And also what I observe in the field, that many people have psychedelic experiences, but their lives, they don't change. They can't get out of this job that they don't like. They can't build that beautiful relationship. They can't get up and meditate and establish healthy habits and a meditation practice. They can't, um, yeah, I don't know, deepen that God realized state that they have experienced in psychedelic space. Um, they can't find their passion and live their life purpose. But like, they are in this. Many people are just in this loop, in this cycle, stuck, feeling like trapped by culture, by society, by perspectives, by the expectations of parents, of society, by the fear of success, even by the fear of their own potential, what they might have glimpsed, or they're too far out, right? So also a lot like in this difficulty of integration, people are too far out. They take psychedelics too much. It has become an escapism. It's a way of actually not looking at your real life problems, and also just like escaping from these, like this inability to actually build and create a vision for your life, and live a life aligned with who you truly are. And that's painful. It's painful for me to see that, because that's really important to me, right? Because I would define my journey as a success of actually integrating certain experiences, psychedelic experiences, that have inspired me to actually do the work of self-actualization and self-realization, right, to my greatest extent. And I have so many challenges and flaws and difficulties, and like fall back over and over and over again what I'm sharing here on this channel, right? But it's still like this guiding mechanism, the principles that I live by. So it hurts me to see that, to see people's inability to integrate their psychedelic experiences properly, because I see the potential. I see the potential in you, in them, in all of us, to actually utilize and prepare for psychedelic space consciously and responsibly, and with a sense of maturity, to then have a great experience from which you can take an insight and actually embody it in your life, actually make changes in your life, actually change something, actually like tangible, lasting changes, not this fleeting high, this fleeting insight, this fleeting awakening or satori experience, but deepen a principles, live by values, create a vision, and actually like live by that on a moment to moment basis to the best of your ability. So that's my why, that's why I'm passionate about the YouTube, which initially just started with me just like sharing, what I felt like was present. But this is now, it has evolved and become this. This is why I'm passionate about the coaching, working with my clients. You could book a free one-on-one call if you want to converse with me. It's fantastic. It gives me great joy to talk to you guys. I've talked to many of you, even if we haven't decided to work together. But I see these like struggles and these problems, the loneliness, this being stuck, this feeling not aligned, being not able to make money doing what you love. So that hurts me. And then when I actually work with you guys and I see the transformation happening, like that gives me great joy. Because I think it's almost like our duty. It's our responsibility when we're using these substances, especially because we're coming out of this like age where there's a lot of like cultural baggage around this topic, with the fighting for legalization and everything we're doing, right? And the research that's going on that is trying to like, we're trying to prove ourselves and establish this as the norm, it's because it should be, because it's our human right to explore our consciousness by whatever means we choose to do so, that is not harming anybody. So it's like it feels to me that it's our duty and responsibility to actually not fuck this up, basically be a prime example of the potential of psychedelics. Because if you're taking psychedelics and your life is like it's shit, it's not aligned, it's you're not living up to your potential that you've glimpsed in the psychedelic experience, then what is society gonna think? Then they have all the right to think that psychedelics are dangerous, that psychedelics are used as escapism, that psychedelics are not actually helping people, because there's like this fleeting high and then there's no sustainable transformation, there's no real lasting change. People using psychedelics are not living in alignment with their purpose. They don't have an inspiring character, healthy habits. They're not expressing their truth and their authentic self. That's a shame. That's a shame. And I see, the deeper I go into this field, the more I see how many people are in this position. And that's okay. That's like, if that's the position that you're in, then that's understandable. I've been in this position. You're not alone in this position. Cultural like expectations and the structures that are actually in place in our society make it very difficult to do the integration properly, because we don't have a framework for integration in our world. We don't have ancestral practices. We lost them. We forgot them. We're not connected to them. So it's understandable that we're struggling to actually integrate these like super duper extraordinary experiences, which most people that have had not this experience don't have a reference point for. Because there is so much judgment happening in human nature. Because it is hard to stay away from the phone, as it's designed to keep us trapped, to keep us scrolling, to keep us entertained, to keep us like distracted. Like these apps, they are designed for that. That's the purpose of them. So it's okay to fall into this. Like it's not your fault, basically, but it is your responsibility, I believe. to live up to your greatest potential, to live up to your greatest vision, as a prime example for the power of psychedelics. That's my why, like that's why I'm passionate about what I'm doing. That's why I show up here with thyroid fever, almost dying, feeling like all my life energy has been sucked out of me, not feeling like doing anything, wanting to like I literally like wanted to commit suicide, like I don't know, because it was too awful. What I did instead was show up to a live stream, serve, talk to you guys. That's how strong that why is. Obviously there's there's a place for rest and for recovery and for health as well, but you know it's because I care about you. So this is why I do the YouTube stuff and the coaching. The education is also like my why behind the education is also based basically on another observation. Uh, as I've been kind of like educating myself about psychedelics over the last few years, I recognized I don't know, I was dissatisfied with everything I found, basically. And I know I haven't been putting out my best work till now. Like that's still like to come. Because it is hard work to formulate everything. But like even the most like some of the most accredited and highly praised books, about psychedelic space and science and education, I feel like they're incomplete. I feel like they're too limited in their perspective. They're too broad. They're like not clear. They're like talking around the problem. They don't hold a higher picture perspective. Like I found great dissatisfaction with information about psychedelics that's out there, about psychedelic preparation, navigation, integration. There's good stuff out there, don't get me wrong. Like I enjoy reading some stuff, and some people are doing like fantastic work also in the field of psychedelic research. Some people doing fantastic work, but most and many I find like, oh, like I don't know. Like I don't know if a bit of dissatisfaction. So that's another why, like another strong reason for me to see this, and then to, with my perspective and my own relative truth, saying like, okay, I feel like it's appropriate to approach it differently, to hold a bigger picture perspective, to formulate it in this and this way. And so I kind of like feel this desire, this why to contribute to the field of this whole revolutionary evolutionary process that is happening in psychedelic space, to have the inspiration to actually share my perspective on a festival, to share my wisdom and my knowledge. And then with whomever it resonates, it resonates, and with whomever it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate. But like I found that if you care about something so deeply, that there's like this deep passion, there's this deep care, because it's like it's most important to you, then, and you keep at it 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 and you keep at it, and then you fall into darkness, deep darkness, and you keep at it, and you keep at it, and you keep at it, and you lose all your money, and you keep at it, and you keep at it, and you keep at it, because you care. And then you get sick, and you keep at it, 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 because you care. Then inevitably reality and life has to give something back in return. You get from life what you give, you know? The more you're invested, the more you receive back from life. You truly get what you give from life. So care about giving. Care about giving in a field that inspires you, in a field that's like truly, truly, truly meaningful for you. I'm gonna read some of your comments. Sorry, there was a bit of rant. Moth is saying splitting real life problems and others' problems is the same paradox, like divide between ego related and the fact that we all live in unity. Yes, reality is full of paradoxes. Absolutely. Kelly's saying, I had a provoking thought in your last video. If you don't mind, can you further explain why you reference Hindu gods in your videos? In other words, what is your worldview on the deity? Because some deity beliefs contradict the other. Yes, it's a tough one. So the way I'm approaching my journey of spirituality, and of meditation and of understanding about reality is inspired by traditions and knowledge that is out there, but validated by my own experience. So basically saying like a principle of saying direct experience is king. So I don't like the word belief. I don't believe really in anything. Ideally, I base my wisdom around experience. So this principle is basically related to my highest value, which I prefaced in the beginning of this live stream. Satnam, the name is truth. So truth is a wonderful word. And truth is my highest value, basically. It's my guiding force of life. So what is truth is kind of like the first question that we got to ask ourselves. And I would say I haven't come to a full definition for myself. I haven't worked it out fully. But I would say truth is the infinite unfolding of reality and divinity, embodying presence, wholeness, and the essence of what is. And truth calls for radical honesty, a clear perception, self-transcendence through humility, absolute responsibility, and surrender. So truth is both the journey toward understanding and the realization of God, unity, and goodness. And it relates to Hinduism. So hold on, I'll get to this, and the deities as well. So truth is the ultimate reality as it is, unfiltered by illusion, what in Hinduism they call Maya, embodying divine presence, clarity, and authenticity. So I equal truth with the the word God, I equal it with the word reality, infinity, freedom, peace, presence, being, wholeness, self-realization, no self, selflessness, self-transcendence, nothingness, radical responsibility, goodness, understanding, ultimate non-judgment. So a prerequisite for valuing truth is courage and curiosity. And curiosity has basically led me to explore, to be open-minded, to be open-minded to perspectives. Okay, I'll keep with me, but I'm gonna like go even a further step back. I would say truth. There was a beautiful post by Leo Gura, actualize.org, on his blog recently. He said something along the lines of truth and consciousness is undefined. Actually, I'm going to read it to you because it's very nice. Um, so, truth and God cannot be defined by definition. Like a lot of different traditions, that's where the curiosity and the open-mindedness led me is to be open to explore all kinds of an infinite amount of perspectives. It's all perspective, and then not lead to any perspective as a belief, but hold this infinitude of perspectives with the knowing that actually like the thing that is behind it, truth, consciousness, love, cannot be defined because they are everything. So I'm reading the blog post now from Yogura. So truth is totality, and this leaves nothing with which to define them. Definition only works on parts of reality, not the whole of reality, because definition is the explanation of one part of reality in terms of another part. See, we are running into a problem of language, into the limitation and duality and the dual nature of language itself. Because a definition assumes parts. But the totality of existence has nothing against which it can be defined. Therefore, existence is literally undefined. And this isn't a lack of certainty. It is absolutely, certainly undefined. This is the profound nature of infinity. If you could define God, it wouldn't be God. If you could define infinity, it would be finite. Understand that asking for definitions is a relative matter which cannot be asked of reality as a whole. So if you ask, define consciousness, define God, define truth, the technical answer is consciousness or truth, is undefined. God is undefined. At first, it seems unsatisfying, but only because undefined is such a profound thing that it requires awakening to understand. Being undefined is what makes truth divine. It's what makes God divine. It is what makes love and consciousness divine. The whole problem is that you're not recognizing the divinity of existence. The solution to that problem is called awakening. So, with that preface of God and truth being undefined and our inevitable inability to actually define it in language is kind of like the core of your question. So based on this, there have been people in the history of the earth who have had an experience of that. of that which is undefined, of truth, of consciousness, of love, of reality, of the true nature of yourself. And instead of going into Mahasamadhi and merging with that infinitely and disappearing into that, people have stayed around after such an awakening experience or a psychedelic experience, right? Psychedelic experience is a bit of a like a different way of getting there, a bit more brutal and less sustainable. But it's that's why people say psychedelic experiences are inevitable. So, and then we have had these people who have had these experiences of that which is undefined, and they stuck around on Earth. And naturally, there has been a desire arising for these people to share their experience and their understanding that is derived from direct experience of this wholeness, of this completeness, of being. You know, it's an experience of being. And instead of just sharing it through their presence and through a silent gaze and a transmission of consciousness through that, without defining anything, those people, I guess, and that's my guess, I don't know how it went, but those people tried to describe their experiences in the inevitable limited dual form of language. And that's how the religions were born. So that's it, basically, right? So then, in my understanding, and I don't have a complete understanding or not a complete present realization of some of these words, but then some of these words have been born, like God, like, I don't know, Brahman, Atman. There have been attempts to lay out and describe the understanding of the direct experience of these people. And to come specifically to your question, yes, and then obviously, because I don't know why, but because the nature of reality is infinite and it is very mysterious, people have formulated different things based on their personal experiences of that which is undefined. And in these relative attempts of the container of language, which is in and of itself limited and dual, because it uses words which are just labels to point to something, and which can also only be defined against each other, right? They are, yeah. So you basically run in circles, and in these kinds of attempts, there is contradictions arising. Contradictions of different religions, the contradictions even in spiritual traditions, and in religions and in beliefs. Like, one person following Hinduism can have a totally different belief than another person following Hinduism. That's why there's like a bazillion different branches of Hinduism. There's Kashmir Shaivism, there's Advaita Vedanta, there's this and this, and those people say these people are wrong, and those people say these people are wrong, and those people say Shiva is the ultimate, but those people say Kali is the ultimate, and those people, it's like, it's words, it's we run into these like contradictions and these limitations because we're trying to define something which cannot be defined. And still we try, because what else is there to do? I could also just remain silent. See, but it gets boring for you. It gets boring if I stay silent. So, and also I have a great passion to share. So why not try to put it into words? Why not try to find frameworks to build stuff around the understanding of that which cannot be defined? Because that which is unknowable, why not try to understand it? Why not try to understand truth? Why not try to experience it and then put it into words? I think it's fun. I can not imagine doing anything else with my life. It's fun. It's enjoyable. I enjoy it. And the closest thing I can do, I think, to get to that which is unknowable, to get to truth in the ultimate sense, with the framework of language, is to study an infinite amount of perspectives and to not hold any of them as the ultimate truth. And appreciate the beauty of each of these perspectives. Love them. So if I use the word Shiva or Kali in my trip report, it has probably come from me exposing myself to that line of thought, to people who have had experiences of the divine, of that which is undefined, and have formulated it in and depicted it in the way of energy, in the framework of language regarding Kali or Shiva. Then there has also probably it has an influence that there has been a repetition of the chanting of that specific name for thousands of years. So that, and now it's a speculation, that might have created a certain energetic resonance with that energy, with that flavor, maybe, of that which is divine and undefined and infinite. It's a flavor of the infinite, basically. Which I have chanted. So I have spoken and I have sung the words Om Namah Shivaya, Om Mata Kali, Jai Ma, in this heightened state of consciousness during the ayahuasca experience, which has led to, probably with the combination of my exposure to those lines of thought and traditions who have talked about this energy, to an invocation of that energy, which might have hung around here around Earth because it has been chanted by millions of people for thousands of years. I don't know. So then, when I came out of the experience, which in the experience itself was inevitable and could not be put into language because it is an experience, it is the being, it is the actual direct experience of wholeness, of truth, of that which is undefined, of freedom, of peace, of love. Of selflessness. Then after that, as my mind and my ego like reestablished themselves, the best word that I had found to describe my experience was Shiva, an experience of merging with Shiva or of dancing with Kali. So yeah, as you said, if it's it is a very complex topic. Um, but this is so far my best attempt to explain my approach to basically report back my experiences and talk to you guys, because I enjoy it. It's fun. It's it's enjoyable. I think I took great inspiration on my journey from Alan Watts and Terence McKenna and Ram Dass. Those were the three teachers that inspired me at the beginning of my journey, and I really deeply appreciated and fell in love with their ability to use language as a vehicle for transmitting experience. Um, and other people, they choose to remain silent for the rest of their lives. Other people, they express their experiences of the divine in art. It's a common one. Other people express it in music. Other people express it in writing. This is Contemplative Prayer by Thomas Merton. Um, this is a great formulation of that. And then they choose kind of like, I guess they choose their preference. People then kind of like choose their preference of talking about these things. And it's great to have a starting point, when you've had this significant experience and you want to share it. Maybe it's because of like cultural like environment and the place that you've been born and grew up in, or your teachers or whatever, and mentors. But to have a starting point of a reference or a framework of language that has already been established as a starting point for your further investigations and inquiry, um, for sharing your experience. So Thomas Merton in Contemplative Prayer, he chose kind of like the Christian mystic branches, Christian mysticism, drew inspiration from Meister Eckhart, Saint John of the Cross, um, whoever else. And then they have or John Thaler. I also recently quoted from him recently, because they have already a wonderful way of explaining it. And then it's a great starting point to build your vocabulary and understand what the words you are saying actually mean based on your direct experience of awakening, which is triggering this understanding. So, for example, John Thaler, for example, says that the unitive and the mystical knowledge of God is ineffable darkness, and yet it is essential light. It is called an incomprehensible and solitary desert. This it certainly is. No one can find his way through it or see any landmarks, for it has no marks which man can recognize. By darkness, here you must understand a light which will never illuminate a created intelligence, a light which can never be naturally understood. And it is called desolate because there is no road which leads to it. To come there, the soul must be led above itself, beyond all its comprehension and understanding. Then it can drink from the stream at its very sources, from those true and essential waters. Here, the water is sweet and fresh and pure, as every stream is sweet as its source before it has lost its cool freshness and purity. Poetry, that's poetry. It's I resonate with this, for example. You just speak of words like darkness and light, but you speak of that which cannot be spoken about. So you use words like desert and water and sweetness to try to the best of your ability to convey what you have experienced. I want to practice speaking more in poetic language as well, but it's like I find my own way. So, and that's a lot around, like, based around the mysticism of Christianity, apopathic theology, negative theology, they call it as well. It's basically defining or inquiring into God by saying which he is not. So basically saying anything that can be defined is not it. It's negative theology. That's also where the term darkness or nothingness is coming from. Well, it's not coming from this, but it's like, right? Refers to this phrase in the Bible which says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. But the darkness is the womb of the Word. And it is then you see these, like, at least in my exploration, of the understanding of that, I found great similarities between different descriptions and explanations. Obviously, also contradictions and paradox and disagreements, but then I look at Advaita Vedanta, I look at certain different branches of Hinduism, even of Tantra, of Buddhism, and then I find, like, okay, like they say neti neti, they say narunja, they say, like, they describe basically the same thing. Ik Onkar, the one creator, they say in Sikhism. It is, they just found a new word. They say it's above, it's the unity of Shiva and Vishnu and Brahman. And then we play these games of language. I was saying Advaita Vedanta, neti neti, which basically also means not this, not that. It's a form of inquiry into the nature of that which cannot be defined. Saying like everything that it is, everything that your mind comes up with, that it is not. It's a similar technique to apopathic theology of Christian mysticism. And then the Buddhists have similar techniques, they talk about no self, infinite branches of Buddhism that all disagree with each other. But if you keep an open mind and you have the courage and the curiosity to not believe anything, but to hold an infinite number of perspectives simultaneously in your mind, I think, at least for myself, then my mind and my perspective, which is relative, is getting closest to the absolute, to that which it can only experience by the transcendence of itself. Yeah, and it's fun in games, it's fun and playful to do that. Christian, hello. Kali says, thank you for that. You're welcome. Blah Wolf said, have you ever tried Kana? I don't know what you mean by Kana. I think this one plant, right? I think I have not tried it. Oh, I think I've come across it in Portugal. I'm not sure if I tried it. I forgot. I don't think so, but I've heard of it. I've come across it. It's like a natural form of MDMA, basically, right? um, so Kali says you would. So would you be Hindu if not for the availability of other religions and your curiousness towards them? I don't know. No, I don't. So my preference, basically, it's a matter of preference. Some people find great security and depth in assuming an identity, but my preference is to stay as independent of identity and as close to the formless as possible. So I am trying to the best of my ability not to, or my preference is not to take on an identity. So I don't say I am Hindu or I am Buddhist or I am Christian or I am a Sikh or I am a human or I am Virgo or I am, it's this neti neti, saying everything that I come up with when I ask myself this famous question of who am I? That's not it. And then, there's still like the paradox, coming back to the paradox again of actually embracing human nature as well, appreciating duality to its fullest, the yin and the yang, the dark and the light, to drop down into my humanness, not to reject my humanness, even though my preference is to stay as close to the formless as possible. At the same time, I embrace I try to embrace my humanness fully. And with the embrace of duality comes an embrace of language. So I play around with these limited forms and these words. And I also embrace preferences and bias. So the undefined, the beyond, God, love, truth, consciousness, reality, infinity, however you want to call it, oneness doesn't have a preference. It doesn't have a bias. Ultimate love, infinite unconditional love, means not having a preference, not preferring one thing over another thing. But appreciating it all, loving it all. And even though I try to embody that definition of unconditional infinite love, at the same time I'm embracing the duality of humanness, the limitation of humanness, and that comes with its embrace of preferences. So this character, this human body, it likes a certain type of food and it doesn't like a certain other type of food. I could say I am infinitely loving towards the whole of reality, so I don't have a preference of one thing over another. So I might as well eat human shit for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But this vessel, this temple, this character called Virgo, it has a preference of eating fruits and vegetables above human shit. It doesn't mean I cannot love human shit infinitely and unconditionally, as it's part of truth, it's part of God, it's part of the unity. But in this relative domain, as a human being, with its full embrace of my own humanness, comes an embrace and a conscious choice of the relative preferences that I choose to embody. So I choose to embody the preference of eating a fruit over human shit. And the same goes for, I don't know, values, principles I hold, the vision and the purpose I set for myself or that I open myself up to receive. I choose to be addicted to one thing over another thing. All of these are just like, it's lila, it's the play of the divine. It's the undefined coming into form. It's the formless playing in form. Behind it all is still always the formlessness. It's the source of all, the form has to come out of formlessness. Existence is held by non-existence. But in existence we can play around. That's the whole point of it. In my relative perspective, It's to play, to enjoy, to pursue truth, to be as close as possible to truth and love as at most, at all times. And then to play around and enjoy, appreciate the rest. And yeah, that's about it. I'll go over to read some of your comments. Kali's saying, I was just reading today Bruce Lee's quote: empty your mind, be formless, shapeless like water. If you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle and it becomes the bottle. You put it into a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now, water could flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend. Oh, nice analogy. No, water is a good one. Joel Adamas, good to see you here. That layer just exists within an awareness of the connections between perceptions. I don't know what you're referring to, but sounds like a great way to formulate it. Yes. XTOS says, look into that Evian water brand. I learned a while back it isn't as healthy as other regular spring water. Yeah, man, it's tough here in Madagascar to get clear water. Usually, this is just like a bottle I found like right next to me on this desk because I'm thirsty. Usually, um, we have other like water filtered here in this place, and don't like to buy bottles too much, but filter it, the water. But some of like I'm in this remote village in the middle of nowhere in Madagascar, and some of them they don't. They literally just have this bottle. Because there's like it's a village of like 50 to 100 people here. How to access stuff here in Madagascar. UL continues to go on, even if on a conceptual level, one understands on this level. Entanglements of the form will play out, and that should be understood. Forms are always using limitations through the connections of the patterns of infinity to make what they perceive as self. It's like a child by the river. You can look into the river, jump into the river. You can sit by the river and just be warmed by the sun. Yeah, man. Aho. You have a great way of articulating things. Great. Great understanding. John Edward is asking, did you try smoking DMT in a fresh crop cycle yet? No, but that's definitely coming onto my list of things to do. Um, I would love to, man. I would love to do this. I would love to. Also, the pyramids. Some of my friends have smoked DMT and 5-MeO DMT in the pyramids. Uh, sounds like it's a very interesting experience, especially those in Egypt. Very interesting. See, and it relates back to this like relative level, the dimension of consciousness that we find ourselves in. Like, there's so much stuff I don't know. I have no clue about. You know, there's so many like more perspectives, infinite. You know, infinite, but also just like more recent ones, like the Egyptians. Like what the heck, man? What have they been up to? I've heard a theory yesterday of a friend who told a story who said that there's still like like the Egyptian gods or like the pharaohs where they get mummified and then they keep their like body in the tomb alive in a hidden chamber in whatever way, great pyramid that hasn't been discovered yet, and they feed off souls and spirits, and they influence the energetic field of the earth by building up these places of, I don't know, like this is very interesting. That's why I would like conduct psychedelic archaeology at those places to receive a bit more information with a group of researchers. Like, if you're curious about this, hey guys, you gotta join our psychedelic actualization community. This is gonna be part of our community. It's gonna be actually traveling out to sacred sites and crop cycles and pyramids, and then conducting secret, illegal psychedelic archaeology at those places in groups, and not just me by myself. So be on the outlook for the psychedelic actualization community launching soon, and we can plan how to do this together. I love to do it together. You know? But that's what I mean. It's like there's so much stuff that I don't have a clue about. Like I can't read Egyptian like symbolism, and same with the Mexicans, and like there's probably like some stuff going on in Antarctica. Like I don't know. Like so much stuff, so many perspectives, so many like even like all the traditions lost. Like we have no idea anymore. We basically don't have any clue about real history, because like I don't know, civilizations, they took off into space, they've been wiped out by great floodings. Some survived, humanity has to be built rebuild again, and it's like it's so mysterious, you know, our ability as a humanity to forget things is such an intelligent design, you know, it's such a good one. Like like that's happen. That is what's happening in psychedelic experiences most of the time. You know, this recognition of the undefined, and this like the peak experience is going beyond everything and just like peeking into the formless. But just like on the level of form in our universe, you can't even imagine. Your mind can't even comprehend how many millions and bazillions of galaxies and planets and life forms and like entities and aliens and spirits and demons and like all these layers of reality that we haven't, that most people don't even have a clue about. Like the recognition of the variety and infinity of that, and of the like ultimately infinitively, like infinitely intelligent design. Intelligence, infinite intelligence is also another great word for God. Like the intelligent design of this mystery, you know, it's awe-inspiring. It brings me to tears. It's humbling to the ego. It's so good, you know, it's so good. Like literally no human mind can come up with a better design of reality. It's so good. It's so good, man, with all the murder and all the darkness and all the damage and all the like details that we're forgetting, stuff that we're struggling, that we have to shit and pee and I don't know, hair is growing out of like different parts of this system in different speeds. Like what the fuck, man? It's so good. It's such a good design. It's infinite goodness is another word for God. So yeah, it brings tears to my eyes. It's so good. John is asking, have you tried drinking water that is charged with a higher energy frequency? And if so, could you feel a benefit? Yes, I tried drinking water from people who have had like crazy inventions and machineries, and I don't know. There's this earlier this year, I met this guy at a rainbow gathering, and he had like this machine, and he said he could, or I don't even remember. Don't take my word for it, but he said he could charge water with vibrations. So he's basically like this machinery is, for example, analyzing and taking on the vibrational frequency of LSD, of the molecule of LSD, and then it's infusing the water with the vibrational frequency and the healing energy of LSD. It was like it was a lot to do with like magnets and like electrons, and I don't know, like I literally don't know anymore. But basically what the end result is just water, you know. It's charged water. So yes, I've tried that and many different other things. uh, for myself, it's been too subtle to draw a conclusion, you know. It's too subtle, too subtle for me, and I haven't done like rigorous experiments. So Yeah, I I don't know. No clue. That's also the same with microdosing. Microdosing plants, or like plants that have a very like subtle effect and just like a very soft frequency. um, I don't resonate that much with them. It takes a lot of like attentiveness to feel a subtle shift in consciousness from different kinds of water use, for example. And I haven't done like I haven't given that the space that it deserves in order to draw any conclusions. So I don't know, but I've tried different stuff. Joel is saying the ancestors don't really feed off the energy, but their entanglements still persist until this day and influence many patterns of belief and structural forms. Yeah, could be, for sure. I see it in my own life recently. I'll continue finish what you said. Even with what is perceived as disharmony in the entanglement of infinity is still a part of a greater harmony, just from a perspective angle perceived as chaos. Yes, absolutely. And that's what it is, right? That's what I've kind of like been trying to put into words of the last hour, is holding both perspectives, the relative and the absolute at the same time, seeing the greater harmony and the infinite goodness, while at the same time working out your ancestral blockages and freeing your ancestors to move on to their soul's journey into the infinite. So it's like it's holding both at the same time, for sure. I feel it in myself, in my family line, the trauma, like just like the subtle trauma from my ancestors that has been like passed on. And so there's like a gentle working through this while recognizing the greater harmony in this chaos, as you said. Yeah, beautifully put. um, I'm running out of water and I'm getting seriously thirsty. This is another of those bottles, but I don't know if this doesn't look good anymore, man. No, no, I don't know if I want to drink this. Maybe just like a sip. No, no. Kali's saying, any thoughts on if salvia or DXM are any useful, like psychedelics? I guess based on personal experience, I haven't tried DXM and salvia. I haven't had too many experiences with it. Either way, um, it depends. Depends on the person. Some people find great benefit of salvia, for example. Some people find it very traumatizing. Actually, most find it not beneficial. But also depends on the way of consumption, and yeah, yeah, many different lots to say about this. I feel like I'm done. It was a good live stream. I think it was one of the best ones. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. Uh, uh, I think it was a fantastic one. Like I felt so low and so down and dead inside before starting this live stream. I felt lost and I didn't remember my vision, and I felt dissatisfied and not being able to do much, and this like relative human cry. Oh, I'm a victim. It doesn't feel good. But this even has brought a sense of remembrance for myself. That's why I love the teaching and the talking and the connecting with you guys and the coaching, because it's not just a transmission of giving something from me to you, but I receive something back. In doing that, in letting this energy and this awareness and this consciousness flow through me, and the like transmission that is happening just naturally, these words, I don't choose them, they just come out. But by me just opening myself up to be a vessel for these words to come out and come to you, like I remember as well. I come into remembrance. I come into remembrance of what we talked about earlier, about my vision, about all the steps, about where I am on this journey, about um, the nature of consciousness and reality, the principles and values I live by, and the great joy that comes from just you giving your energy and your presence and your love into this space as well. I feel that, I really deeply appreciate that. Um, brings me great joy. It's another reason why I do what I do, because I love it. It's like it actually, like, giving is one of the most selfish things you can do. Selfless service is just like it feels so good. So coming back to the frequencies, I want to end this with a live rape experience. If you like doing some hape, um, to tap into and let everything we have gone through here in this live stream. If you're just coming in, like definitely scroll back in, zoom back in, and watch the whole thing. It was a fantastic one. Coming back to chanting these words of wisdom, we're going to chant just one repetition of the Gayatri mantra. It's one of the oldest ones we still chant today from the Upanishads. It's one of the earliest ones that um, yeah, a recognition of the divine, an invocation of the divine light, a worship basically to the creation, um, which is still chanted in great masses today. It's Om Bur Bahasva Tatsavitu Varenyam Var Go Devasyarimai. This ukulele is not good anymore. Diyona Prachuraya Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsavitu Varenyam Devasyarimai Diyona Prachuraya Bhuvasvaha Tatsavitu Varenyam Devasyarimai Diyona Prachuraya Bhuvasvaha Tatsavitu Varenyam Devasyarimai Diyona Prachuraya Om Bhuvasvaha Tatsavitu Varenyam Devasyarimai Diyona Prachuraya. Another one I really like is from the Buddhism. It's Gate Gate Para Samgate Bodhi Swaha. It's from the Heart Sutra. It basically means go even further, go beyond, go to the other shore until you have arrived at your Buddha nature, at enlightenment. Pa Gate Gate Para Samgate Bodhi Swaha. 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 May we all walk, continue walking, and continue walking, and continue walking beyond, and even further and further and further until we have reached that place of truth, of love, of reality, of wholeness, of completion. Thank you very much. Rape life experience. It's Yawanawa Hukina Forza. From a beautiful friend of mine. Blessings to you. Before I go into this silent meditation, I just want to emphasize once more, if you're curious about talking to me one-on-one, figuring out your vision and your path, and walking that path together, there's a link for free one-on-one clarity call where we can talk about that, working together. Otherwise, if you want some free stuff, there is the free ebook of mine of 5 steps to integrate and embody your psychedelic insights in daily life. You can download that for free. Otherwise, be on the lookout for the Psychedelic Actualization School community. It's going to be coming soon. And have a wonderful, magical rest of your day. And stick around after the rape. I'm gonna still go to answer your comments, but otherwise you can drop off because this is gonna take a while because it's a little bit of a bigger dose of rape. Thomas, blessings to you, my friend. Shoo. Just silence, full relaxation, full presence, full out breath, full in breath. This experience is sacred. It's a miracle. Existence is a miracle. And to be in existence is the greatest gift. To be informed. So good. Feel the vibrations in your body. The vibrations moving around. It's so wonderful. Enjoy this experience. Enjoy your journey. Savor it all to the best of your ability. Appreciate it. Love it. And remember who you truly are. Ooh. Give praise, gratitude, humility. Work with plants, what Earth is providing. Namaste. Satam. That was good. Probably got to sit in this a little longer. But yeah, thank you all for being here. And see you maybe next Sunday on. Maybe next Sunday I'm traveling. I don't know. But I'll pop in again. There's great videos coming. Cry. Experience the pain, the death, and the love. You know, the beauty. It's infinite beauty. This reality. It's infinitely beautiful. It is infinitely beautiful. Thank you.